Hey, wish everyone well. Coming on here real quick. It maybe feels like the energy around us is a little bit heavy, given there's a lot of world events out there that are maybe coming to the surface, as well as natural occurrences, weather related, like earthquakes. There was just an earthquake around New York that never really happens, and Taiwan as well. And, we have wars going on all over the world right now. Astrologically speaking, on March 25th, there was a moon eclipse, and now on April 8th, in the northern hemisphere, I believe only, there is a solar eclipse. So there's a lot going on, and it feels like a pressure cooker of energy. And I just want to come on here and say it's important that we acknowledge and see and are aware of what's happening around us, but not to get lost in the sauce, so to speak, not to become that heavy emotion. We can feel it, but don't become the heavy emotion. Okay, one of my teachers that I met in Sedona 2 years ago, he gave me an analogy with a dragon, because I like dragons. He said, Michael, if a dragon comes into this room right now and breaks the house down, you can do a couple things. There's probably many things you could do. You can, 1, try to attack the dragon, but I might get hurt. 2, run away from the dragon, then I'm a coward. And 3, ride the dragon, become the dragon. So the point here is that we can ride with the uncertainty, we can ride with the heavy emotion, and we can actually grow from it and become stronger, because Michael plus Dragon is stronger than just Michael. Dragon Master Michael. That used to be a nickname. Got the coffee. And I know that this is a tense period, and a lot of us are speaking up, which is great, and a lot of us want to support and do the right thing. And then there are some of us that, want to keep our mouth shut and just go with the flow. No one is wrong. No one is right. What I will say though, and this is just my opinion, do not take it where we should all be free to express our own opinions, is that when an occurrence happens, sometimes it's important to meet the energy, meet the frequency. There's the expression fight fire with fire. Sometimes we can match it head on, but sometimes that's not always effective, and we should fight fire with water, with the opposite element to counteract it, to bring it down, okay? Instead of fighting, is there another method to still use that masculine strength, that masculine energy, but also combine it with divine feminine energy and diffuse the situation rather than fight? Because if you fight fire with fire, over time, you not only are victorious, but you end up destroying not only the opponent or the issue, you also can destroy yourself if you lose yourself in this fire energy. Fire is rampant. It starts the new, it destroys, it cleans up, right? But you don't want to lose yourself in the fire. So don't always fight with fire. There will be some instances where you have to fight fire with fire, but you got to catch yourself and then control the fire. Think about, this is related to my restaurant days where I was a certified sommelier. We talk about food and wine pairings, and there are 2 pairings that I like to talk about. Complementary pairings and opposing pairings, or opposite pairings, or we'll go with that. Complementary pairings would be something like a nice giant steak cooked rare on the grill, served with a full-bodied red wine that has nice tannins, nice bitter notes, and can stand up to this full-bodied, or stand up to this very rich, fatty piece of meat, right? That's a complementary pairing, because you're pairing strong with strong, okay? Another complementary pairing would be for dessert. They have something called dessert wine, which is very viscous, which means thick, and very sweet. You pair the sweet dessert wine with something sweet because it matches the sweetness and it doesn't feel that sweet. What's the issue? If you eat too much steak and red wine, if you eat too much dessert and this dessert wine, over time, you're gonna feel really full and not happy, okay? If you eat too much, you're gonna feel very uncomfortable. So that's the same thing with fighting fire with fire all the time. The fire gets out of control and you lose yourself. Same thing, if you eat too much good food, you're gonna lose yourself. Instead, opposite pairing would be something like a chicken dish, okay? Let's say a nice stewed chicken. Instead of pairing it with a heavier red wine, you would pair it with a lighter white wine, which would cut. And the white wine, let's say, has nice acidic notes, has nice like lemon, lime notes, so it cuts the richness of the chicken. Even though chicken isn't that rich, it's not a good example. Like, red wines don't always have to be with meat. And white wines don't always have to be with fish, okay? And people will be like, oh, blah, 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 you don't know what you're talking about. But you can cut the acid sometimes, like have a nice steak or something fatty, maybe like a fatty piece of salmon, and cut it with a crisp, refreshing white wine. So that is something that cuts the richness out, because the white wine is more acidic, it cuts the richness. So that's the same approach that we can take to the energy that's going around us, and the uncomfortable current events happening, as well as astrologically what's going on. Be aware of what's happening, but let's not become engulfed and go down a negative spiral of it. Instead, let's see it for what it is and try to make the most of it. There are periods of this journey for each of us that are different, where we're going to have to fight head on. We're going to have to fight fire with fire. And then there are other periods where maybe we can use the opposing force. Maybe we can use a little bit of love, a little bit of compassion, and infuse that with the fire energy, so our words are not overspoken. So we're communicating still in a strong way, but we're not getting carried away where our presentation overspeaks our words. One more story. I did wrestling in high school. I remember we had a crosstown rival come in, and the coach before the match was like, whatever we do, everyone please try your hardest. Like, this is the most important competition of the year. So at wrestling, you match up with someone that's your weight. So I matched up with someone that was taller than me, stronger than me, and faster with me. There was only so much times where I could match them on strength, because I couldn't. I would not be able to sustain the match. So what I did, I played on my own strengths, which was endurance, which was technical moves, and I ended up wearing them out, and I ended up winning. So I didn't fight fire with fire, I used the opposing force. So when stuff is hitting the fan right now and it feels like there's no hope, keep the hope, remind yourself of who you are, remind yourself of your strength, and collectively, if we come together, you think like you don't have power. No, you do have power. Everything that we do has meaning, and everything that we do has a ripple effect. But you have to believe in yourself and not give power to other people, that you are capable of doing what you want to do no matter what anyone says. And I'm not saying hurt people, I'm not saying do the wrong thing, but you don't always have to fight fire with fire. Sometimes you use the opposing force, you bring the situation down, you ride through it. You go through it. You ride the dragon. And then it's not that bad after all, and you end up learning lessons and you get stronger from it. Victorious. Yeah, is there anything else that I want to say? I'm trying to think. Oh, and I'm not saying like don't stand up for yourself. By all means, stand up for yourself. Speak up for yourself. It is very important, and I need to tell myself that too. Speak up for yourself. Say what needs to be said. I was at a cafe. I keep telling stories. A month ago, and I was talking to older people, like double my age, and we were having a nice conversation about like career finances and stuff. This man who was with his wife made a joke about like Asian people and did like a gesture like this. And I'm one to like laugh and make jokes, and I don't take things so seriously. But in that moment, I was like, you know what, sir, like your joke's not funny, and I find that really immature and offensive. And I just said that. And then his wife agreed with me. She's like, yeah. You know, like there's a way to joke, and then there's a way to just like, that's just stupid. So don't be afraid to speak up for what you believe is right. Sometimes you're going to have to use that fire masculine energy. Sometimes use more feminine nurturing energy. But to come into balance with yourself, you can use both energies at the same time, masculine and feminine energy. In that encounter at the cafe, I said what I needed to say like a boss, a little bit maybe more masculine oriented, but we didn't end up getting to an altercation. We didn't end up getting into a fight. We didn't end up getting into an argument, okay? So stand up for what you believe in, but don't go out there looking for trouble or trying to pick fights for people or trying to attack people for their beliefs, okay? People are entitled to their own beliefs. I'm entitled to my own beliefs. You're entitled to your own beliefs. Just be your best version of yourself. And if people want to follow your lead and learn from you and you know, take aspects of your journey, then let them. If they don't want to, don't let them, okay? There's no saviors. We have to be our own savior and do what's right for ourselves at the end of the day. But if trouble comes knocking at my door, I'm not going to run away either. I'm not going to run away from my fear. Sound the alarm, and I'm getting ready to attend to the situation. I'm getting ready to fight. Fighting doesn't mean always physical. Fighting is mental too. Don't get lost in the fear. Don't get lost in the sauce. If trouble comes along, knocking on my door, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, get ready to fight. Okay, I hope this video made you think, and yeah, this time period is a little bit heavy. Let's move through it, ride that dragon, wish everyone well. Peace.